Right now, put 2 fingers in front of your mouth and breathe out. You just did something humans have been quietly panicking about for at least 50,000 years. Bad breath. You reach for gum, a mint, a travel-sized bottle of mouthwash without even thinking. But for most of human history, none of that existed. And yet the problem never went away because bacteria don't care what century it is. So what did people do for tens of thousands of years with no toothpaste and no dentist? Most people assume ancient people just smelled bad, and nobody cared. The real answer involves urine, tree bark, prophets, poets, and a groove worn into fossilized teeth. Let's start with the groove. It's the oldest evidence we have. In 1911, at the Krapina rock shelter in Croatia, archaeologists found Neanderthal teeth over 130,000 years old. Some of those teeth had thin, polished grooves worn between them. In 2012, researchers led by Karen Hardy analyzed those grooves. Their conclusion: Neanderthals were picking food out of their teeth with small sticks or grass stems. Not for hygiene, for discomfort. Rotting meat between molars hurts. It also smells. So the very first breath-related tool in human history wasn't a mint. It was a toothpick. Scientists call this the toothpick groove, and it shows up on teeth across Europe and Asia. Homo erectus fossils in China show the same pattern, dating back roughly 1.8 million years, which means the urge to dig something rotten out of your mouth predates modern humans entirely. It predates language. It might predate fire. Bad breath wasn't a side effect of civilization, it was a side effect of having teeth. But picking food out of your teeth only solves half the problem. The other half is bacteria, and bacteria don't leave when the food does. In 2013, a team studying dental calculus, the hardened plaque on ancient teeth, found something unexpected. Calculus traps bacteria the moment it hardens, like a microscopic time capsule. Researchers examined calculus from skeletons across 7,500 years of European history. They found the exact bacterial species that cause modern bad breath: Porphyromonas and Fusobacterium. These bacteria feed on dead tissue and release sulfur compounds. That smell is halitosis. Ancient farmers had it. Bronze Age warriors had it. Roman senators had it. So the question shifts, not whether ancient people had bad breath, but what they did about it. The earliest written answer comes from Egypt. Around 1550 BCE, the Ebers Papyrus was written, one of the oldest medical texts in existence. It contains a recipe for treating bad breath: frankincense, myrrh, cinnamon, and honey boiled into pellets. Egyptologists now call this the world's first breath mint. You chewed the pellets slowly, letting the resin coat your mouth. The honey masked the smell. The resins had mild antibacterial properties. Egyptian doctors didn't know about bacteria. They just noticed which plants worked and wrote it down. That papyrus is over 3,500 years old, and the logic still shows up in gum today. Modern mints use xylitol and mint oil. Ancient Egypt used frankincense and honey. Same instinct, different century. Mesopotamian tablets from around 3000 BCE describe chewing twigs to clean teeth. In China, tradition credits Emperor Shennong with recommending chewed willow twigs around 2700 BCE. You'd fray one end with your teeth until it turned into soft bristles, then scrub your gums with it. Willow bark contains salicin, the same compound found in modern aspirin. It reduced gum inflammation. Chewing sticks spread across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia for thousands of years. In India, the neem tree became the tool of choice, prized for its antimicrobial sap. Ayurvedic texts from around 5000 BCE describe daily tongue scraping with a thin metal or wood strip. Most bad breath doesn't come from the teeth. It comes from the tongue. A 2004 study in the Journal of Periodontology found up to 90% of halitosis cases start on the back of the tongue. Ancient Indian physicians didn't have that data. They just scraped anyway, every single morning. Now let's talk about the strangest solution in this story: Rome. Specifically, Roman mouthwash, which was made, quite literally, from urine. Wealthy Romans imported it from Lusitania, in Portugal, because that urine was considered especially strong. The poet Catullus even mocked a rival for having white teeth thanks to drinking his own urine. It sounds absurd, but there's real chemistry underneath the joke. Urine breaks down into ammonia, a natural cleaning agent that whitens teeth and kills odor-causing bacteria. So Roman elites were, in effect, using an early antiseptic mouthwash. They just didn't know the mechanism. It wasn't universal. Poorer Romans used vinegar rinses instead, which also eroded enamel over time. Even ancient Rome had a hygiene class divide. built around what you could afford to rinse your mouth with. Around 400 BCE, Hippocrates wrote a tooth powder recipe of burnt mouse heads, hare heads, and marble dust. The marble dust worked as a mild abrasive scraping plaque off the teeth. He also recommended rinsing with wine and anise seed, believed to sweeten the breath. An ancient Greek chewing anise and a modern person chewing black licorice gum are doing the same chemical trick. Breath care was never really about smell. It was about the mouth being a living ecosystem. Nowhere is that clearer than in the Islamic world. Around 610 CE, the Prophet Muhammad reportedly used a twig called the miswak, cut from the arak tree, multiple times a day. Hadiths mention the miswak more than any other hygiene practice in early Islamic texts. He is said to have recommended it before every prayer, up to 5 times daily. The arak tree contains natural fluoride, tannins, and antibacterial resins. A 2003 WHO review confirmed the miswak performs comparably to a modern toothbrush in reducing plaque. Researchers call this the miswak effect, structured oral hygiene tied to religious ritual, repeated for over 1,400 years. One of the oldest breath care tools in human history never actually went extinct. It just never needed a toothpaste commercial. Bad breath wasn't just a physical annoyance in the ancient world, it was social currency. In the Han Dynasty, around 200 BCE, court etiquette required officials to chew cloves before addressing the emperor. An official with foul breath in the emperor's presence wasn't just embarrassing, it could end a career. In the Talmud, Jewish scholars debated whether bad breath was grounds for a wife to request divorce. That debate, recorded roughly 1,500 years ago, tells you this wasn't a trivial concern. Ancient people were not oblivious to hygiene. They were resourceful. Without our tools, they didn't know what bacteria were, but they built rituals that killed them anyway. The miswak, the chewing stick, the tongue scraper, the Egyptian breath pellet. Different continents, different centuries, the same problem, solved independently again and again. That's not primitive. That's convergent human engineering, built from observation and repetition. Now think about your own bathroom cabinet. The global mouthwash industry alone is worth over $15 billion a year. Most of it works on the exact same principle the Ebers Papyrus described 3,500 years ago. Kill the bacteria. Mask what's left. Repeat daily. You just need 30 seconds and a plastic bottle, not frankincense or a fresh willow branch. The modern toothbrush with nylon bristles wasn't invented until 1938 by DuPont. Before that, humanity spent well over 1 million years solving this with sticks, twigs, and instinct. Every ancestor you have ever had, all the way back through Homo erectus, dealt with this exact discomfort. They picked their teeth. They chewed bark. They scraped their tongues at dawn. Not because a dentist told them to, because their own mouth told them something was wrong. So go back to your bathroom mirror, fingers still in front of your mouth. That small private check connects you to a Neanderthal working a stem between their molars 130,000 years ago, to an Egyptian rolling honey and resin into a pellet, to a Roman importing bottled urine because he cared what his breath said about him, to a devout man in 7th century Arabia cutting a fresh twig before every prayer. None of them had toothpaste. All of them had the same quiet fear, that someone might get close enough to notice. We tend to think hygiene is a modern invention, something civilization gave us along with electricity and antibiotics. But hygiene didn't start with science. It started with self-consciousness, with one human standing close to another, hoping to be found pleasant instead of repellent. That worry is not new. It is not modern. It is not even fully human. It is older than language, older than fire, and it is still sitting quietly behind your own front teeth. Every mint you've ever chewed is just the newest chapter in a million-year-old story about wanting to be close to someone without apologizing for it.